Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com with your morning horn of these, your sip of chaga coffee. It is insane what's going on these days. So many things that we've been looking for on the road to Ruta, things we've been looking for in the freedom space, things we've been looking for to take down the cabal, the bad guys, all that stuff are actually happening right now. Silver, obviously, in my world, silver is the bank killer. I don't see silver as an investment, truthfully, because I'm not going to sell my silver for more fiat money. I might trade it in for other things at some point in time, but I don't see silver as an investment. I see silver as a life raft, meaning that when the banks go down, you're not going to know the price of silver. You won't be all happy because silver went up to $600 an ounce, as predicted by many of the gurus in life, especially my friend Cliff High, from his data. Because there won't be any banks open. You won't be able to get any cash to buy it at $600 or $6,000. But it is a life raft. You're going to want to have silver during this transition. And the more you have, the better off you are, in my opinion. No, I don't think silver held in an ETF, I don't think those people will ever see their silver, ever, or ever profit from the silver moonshot. Because just think about it. If the banks collapse because of a derivative meltdown, let's just pick one of the many things. I mean, clearly all the banks are in trouble right now. The FDIC meeting is today. I'll do another private road video about that meeting later today. But yeah, clearly you're not going to know the price of silver as the banks go down because none of the exchanges will be open. You'll not know what the hell's going on. I don't even know if the internet's going to be up and running. Probably the first place they'll attack is the internet as the system falls apart. So you're not going to have a lot of information. Just keep that in mind. You have to have silver in your own possession. That's the number one thing I'm screaming to everybody about. If you like gold for some crazy reason, yes, gold will be money. As a matter of fact, I got an email from one of my customers because Andy had said that gold will be money in the future. And she's like, well, you tell us not to buy gold. I don't say not to buy gold. I say if you are choosing to buy gold, look at silver versus gold, and you will see the obvious difference. I would have loved gold if two things. One, there was no silver in the world. And number two, if they weren't lying about the amount of gold there is in the world. There's millions of tons of gold. There's not 100,000 or 200,000 tons like Jeffrey Christian will tell you. There's millions of tons. So you just got to keep that in mind. It doesn't mean gold is going to go down in fiat money terms because there's massively more types of fiat money out there. So yeah, gold will go to $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 an ounce, but silver will too. Silver will go to $3,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 an ounce. I think ultimately silver at the peak, where I might trade it for some gold, is probably 1-to-1. But I still don't think I'd trade much for it. You know, until we know the exact amount of gold there is in the world, we can't go on to a gold standard at all. No. Well, we're going to live off a lie that Jeffrey Christian told that there's 200,000 tons of gold in the world, and that's all you're allowed to know? No, we can't go to a gold standard until you can specify how much gold there is in the world. Obviously, this is such an obvious thing. But people just don't get that in their minds. They can't process that. If you don't know the supply side of the equation, you're not going to know the value at all. And especially the value in terms of unbacked fiat money. And that's the thing we're not going to be valuing things by, because as the banks collapse with the derivative meltdown, that weapon of mass financial destruction, you're not going to have a checking account, savings account, but nobody else will either. So the stock market won't be up and running. The bond market will be destroyed. Commodity markets will be destroyed. Crypto markets will be destroyed because there is no system in place to value these assets as the old system dies. That's why I call silver, it's a life raft. It's not an investment. Okay? That's my take. If you want to invest and you want to get more US dollars than the US dollars you have right now, yeah, play with SLV. Play with a silver ETF. But remember, when the shit falls apart, that's number one. That's the number one spot they're going to confiscate from. And every country probably will confiscate the big stockpiles. Why? Because they can. It's the government. And everybody in the country will be destroyed. They want as even a playing field as possible going forward. They don't want rich people. They don't want poor people. They want an equal amount for everybody. And it sounds very socialistic, communistic, and it is. But as Greenspan said, it's a once in a lifetime event. The revaluation of a global financial system that has never been done before. We've never been on an unbacked fiat monetary system where the world's reserve currency is the U.S. dollar, one of the unbacked fiat money systems. This has never happened before. Sure, countries have imploded and their currency has gone to shit. Zimbabwe is a great example. Argentina, obviously Nazi Germany. So we have kind of a clue what might happen. You know, wheelbarrows full of dollar bills to buy a loaf of bread, but instead it's going to be on your debit card. It's going to cost you $10 million to buy a loaf of bread on your debit card. And then they'll remove zeros and shit like that, which we are seeing actually right now in India. Faced with new rounds of demonetization, Indians turn to gold. In India, most of the people use cash. That's the banker's worst nightmare because that's freedom. Cash is freedom to them. The Indian Central Bank has announced another round of demonetization, a plan to withdraw 2,000 rupee notes from circulation. It's $24. A 2,000 rupee note is $24. That's the highest bill they have, and they want to pull that out of circulation, get everybody on their digital system. It's crazy. So what's everybody doing? They're turning to gold. They're buying gold, hands down. And don't forget, in India right now, they understand that silver is better than gold at these price points. At 80 to 1, silver is massively better than gold. If you have any gold, swap it today. Get all the silver you can. I don't know how much you'll probably get. Depends what kind of gold you have. Maybe 70, 75 to 1, something like that. Maybe. Depends. Again, if you have gold eagles, that's better than having just a gold round or gold bars. Go to your local coin shop. Say, how many ounces of silver can I get for this ounce of gold? Because if you love gold and you understand gold, then the proper play, the only play that makes sense, is to swap out and get 80 times the amount of silver. And then, if you love gold, you're going to make 80 times. You're going to take your amount of gold you have right now. Say you have 1 ounce, and you're going to have 80 ounces of gold when the silver-gold ratio flips to where it should be, which I think is 1-to-1 or better than 1-to-1, truthfully. Because we don't need gold. Gold is a store of value. Bankers love gold. Well, the banks will be all gone. What is one of their number one assets they're going to be selling when they collapse? Gold. Any bank who has gold and has to, sell everything they got because the fiat money is collapsing and their investments have gone to shit, and with fractional reserve banking, they're going to be selling massive amounts of physical gold. Are there any banks that have physical silver? Very few. As a matter of fact, there's banks that have a lot of silver shorts. So that's kind of where we are. Yes, it is that time where you got to start thinking that way. What are they doing to the price of silver today? They're messing with the 100-day moving average. That's the one they're playing with, this orange line right here. Bumping up and down. The insanity of the silver market is hysterical because it has nothing to do with silver. The silver price exchanges. Now, they're saying Shanghai is a true exchange where you can cash in your physical. You used to not be able to do that. It used to be just the futures and options, just like the COMEX. And the COMEX is removing the deliverability part quietly. Everything's going to London for delivery. So you got me if there are any real true silver exchanges on the planet. So we don't know the price of silver. We haven't known the price of silver probably in 170 years. Before the Opium Wars, when England tried to destroy China by getting them all addicted to opium, they had to pay silver for it, so all the silver went back to England. I'm sure you can go back farther and find more instances of rigging the silver market. Silver's been money longer than gold has been money. It's been a better form of money for the people. It's always been known as the people's money. And this is a time when we, the people, have to stand up. If you want to do your part to take out the banking cabal, go buy as much physical silver as you can. For swaps, Andy Schechtman does it at Miles Franklin. Send them an email, info at milesfranklin.com, milesfranklin.com, and they'll tell you how many ounces of silver you can get for your 1 ounce or 2 ounce or 10 ounce or 1,000 ounces of gold. And again, if you love gold, you'll wait till that gold-silver ratio gets anywhere close to where it should be. I mean, coming out of the ground, it's 7-1. Why is it 80-1? Because of the rigged markets. Above ground, it's 1-1. There's 6 billion ounces of each, officially. And I know there's probably 60 billion ounces of gold. Not 6. With silver, nobody knows how much is left, truthfully. They won't even tell us how much silver goes into an electric car. Nobody really knows. Some people are thinking it's a hell of a lot more than the ounce and a half that they're saying. Especially the Tesla family of vehicles. All right, so yeah, get your silver today. I can't tell you when the game's going to stop, probably when the bank stops. Now, Jenny Moonstone, I know people don't like psychics. Now, actually, I take that back. The vast majority of people do like psychics, and they love listening to them. They don't say, oh, the psychic told me this, so I'm going to do this. No, you use your own brain. Use that psychic power and ability to add to all the other information you have, and then figure out what's going to happen. Everybody say, oh, you believe in psychics, Bix, you're an idiot. It's just insane. Why would I turn away any source of information? Any source of information about the silver market? I even listened to Jeffrey Epstein, for Christ's sake, because I have to take everything in to figure out what's going on. And yes, Jenny has been on fire lately. She's always said, for the last 2 years, silver won't be set free until the child issue is solved, or at least brought out and exposed. And voila, we have this as the latest on that. Epstein pal Jeff Stanley throws Jamie Dimon under the bus, setting the stage for massive legal battle. Jamie Dimon has sworn on the Bible, sworn in depositions that he had no idea about Jeffrey Epstein's continued relationship. What a freaking liar. That guy belongs, there's so many reasons that guy belongs in jail. This is just a big one. It's like I had no idea about Bernie Madoff when JP Morgan was the only banker for Bernie Madoff. All those deals that Bernie Madoff did, the billions and billions of dollars, had to be signed off by Jamie Dimon and the board. Same with Jeffrey Epstein. We don't believe his lies anymore. And now Mr. Dimon is in deep shit because he has lied in lawsuit depositions. And when it gets exposed just how involved he was, this is a guy who wanted to be president of the United States. He's got to go down. And when that happens, that's when silver runs free, according to Ginny. Now, I take that information in, and I saw no relevance at all back in the day when she said that first, about a year and a half ago. And she kept saying, I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And now we see the banking cabal knee-deep in the Jeffrey Epstein, in the child issue. And when that breaks out, Jesus, hold your hats, because silver is going to run like crazy. And don't forget, yes, BlackRock is in the middle of this too. And BlackRock is that new silver short. And they run SLV. Anybody with money in SLV, kiss it goodbye. Today, tomorrow, the next day. I don't know what day you'll get zero for your investment, but you're going to get zero. Anyway, something I did yesterday, and amazingly, I made a little breakthrough. So every once in a while, I'll call the U.S. Mint. And I'll say, hey, Mint, what the hell's going on with the Silver Eagle program? You're not doing what you said you're supposed to do. And then you're claiming in your 2022 annual report that you're making Silver Eagles in greater quantities now than you ever have. And yet, we know you aren't selling them to the public. I finally got through to someone. Rhonda's my girl at the bulk purchase program. So I go to the U.S. Mint, and I go to the contact section, and there it is right at the top, the bulk purchase program. You guys give these people a call, 202-354-7462. That's 202-354-7462. And I actually, be cool about it. kind of tiptoe around because you want them to get back to me. So I get this person named Rhonda. She's really sweet and nice. And I'm like, I'm a customer of the U.S. Mint, and I absolutely love the Mint, and I'm a big promoter of the Mint's products. I mean, the Silver Eagle program was the #1 best-selling coin in the world for so long, since the mid-1980s. And now you people are destroying it. I tried to hold back. She says, no, they're just on allocation. I go, yeah, I understand they've been on allocation for years now. Why are they on allocation? Silence at the other end. Well, no, that's what they decided to do because they can't make them fast enough. I said, you can't make them fast enough? You did 47 million coins back in 2015. Every year for the past 10 years, you've averaged over 30 million coins, and this year you're going to do 10. And this is the year that every other mint on the planet is doubling and tripling their production. The Canadian Mint has tripled their production in the last few years. And I didn't dive into it deeply because she didn't know. And she goes, yeah, that does sound kind of strange. And I said, your boss, Vintage Gibson, said you're expanding Silver Eagle production, and yet for the last 2.5 years that she's been in office, we see the production at 1/3 of capacity. She says, well, I'm not really the person to talk about this. I go, oh, that's wonderful. Can I talk to the other person? And she's like, well, why don't you send me an email with your questions, and I'll make sure they get back to you. Ooh. I said, oh, that's very nice. Okay, I will do that, Rhonda. So I wrote Rhonda a very nicely worded email, and I'll save it for later. Some of the key points, it's not too long. It's longer than I wanted, but not too long. Are why is the Mint making so few Eagles? Why did Vintage Gibson say in their annual report, and she mailed out a letter saying they've expanded their Silver Eagle program, and why are they making 1/3 of what they can? And then I talked about the Royal Canadian Mint taking over as the #1 best-selling silver coin in the world ever since Vintage Gibson got in office. It's never happened before. And then I also brought up the very salient point that the U.S. Mint is the only sovereign mint on the planet that requires the mint to sell quantities equal to demand. And in the wording of that law, and that is a law passed by Congress, in the wording of that law, all the expenses that go into making the coin and marketing the coin is how you determine the price of the coin. There is no legal authority to do any markups at all within the U.S. Mint. Only the cost of production. So if a silver blank, let's just say one of their arguments in the past has been, well, we can't get the silver blanks. Well, the Canadian Mint is outbidding you for silver blanks. You are by law required to bid whatever it takes to get those silver blanks and fulfill the demand side of this. So I put that worded differently. And then my fifth question was, what are the plans to remedy the issues I outlined above? So I sent it to her yesterday. I'll give her a couple days. I guarantee you they're not going to get back to me. And then I'm going to call up Rhonda again, if she's still answering the phone, say, Rhonda, and I'll email her. I have the email address. Rhonda, what happened? You were trying to get me answers, and then it's like, and I told her this before I hung up. I said, now this email isn't going to go into some black void and not get back to me. Nobody gets back to me. Is that right? She says, oh, yeah, they'll get back to you. I go, if they don't get back to me, will you get back to me? Will you make sure this actually happens? And she said, yeah. Okay, let's go, Rhonda. We'll see what happens at the U.S. Mint. All right. Really good news. Theta is just kicking ass. And I know the price doesn't show it because nobody knows what the hell Theta is. When do you want to buy an asset? Now, I would say, yes, Theta is an investment. It's an investment in a technology that's going to change the world. Broadband, sharing broadband. Everybody in the world needs more broadband because that's the way the world is going. And Theta invented a way to fix the #1 problem in broadband and content delivery, especially with videos that uses so much capacity. It's that last mile problem is what they call it. It's like you can get things around on the internet, but it's distributed to each and every entity who wants to use it in the last mile. And that's what Theta solved. Amazing technology. I don't know how many patents they have, but it's a lot. And I don't even look at the price of Theta anymore. Theta below like $1 is kind of like Theta below 10 cents when we originally got into it. And T-Fuel below whatever it is now. I mean, it's getting destroyed. I don't know what the T-Fuel to Theta ratio is. It'll probably end up like 20 to 1. It's right around there now, I think. But yes, it was not easy to buy Theta at 4 cents when it went to 4 cents. It wasn't easy. It's like it's not easy to buy Theta at, 80 cents or whatever it is right now. It's not going to be easy. But they have done everything they said they're going to do. The future is the high-tech world. The future is video. And Theta will be a massive, massive, massive score for anybody who has it. I know it's harder and harder to get with Binance shutting down the Binance US. And go to Caleb and Brown. There's a link on our website. You can get Theta through Caleb and Brown. They do operate in the U.S. now. So they have bank accounts in the U.S. I believe you can make transfers. Go to affiliates at roadtoruta.com. And then Caleb and Brown right here. And there's information on what Theta is and how to get in touch with them to get your Theta Fuel. T-Drop, I don't know. I don't think there's an exchange yet for it. Might be. But it'll be worth something in the future. And the future is going to be very different. Those I call investments. Cryptos I call investments. Silver I call a lifeboat. It's just easier to understand that way. Okay. And interesting, the legality of cryptocurrencies. Every country is widening their acceptance of cryptocurrencies. Every country except the United States. And the United States is just being held up by Gary Gensler and friends at the SEC and the CFTC, Rustin Bingham. Those who know the history of the SEC and the CFTC, they work for the banks. They get appointed by the president, but they work for the banks. The banks tell them what to do. Ask Reggie Middleton of Veritasium. I absolutely still think Veritasium is going to be the best cryptocurrency to own because of the patent. Now, I don't know if they'll use the Reggie will use the tokens that he already created. He created 100 million Veritasium tokens. The U.S. government stole them and froze them. Now, they should have liquidated them or destroyed them by now if they don't plan on using them or giving them back to Reggie and go to Reggie and say, help us implement peer-to-peer transactions, because that's a huge problem. But that'll only, Cliff's right, that'll only happen after the crash, after a new system comes in, a new government, after the stock markets are destroyed, because they are all fake. The high-frequency trading has taken over everything. There's massive multiples of assets out there, U.S. treasuries and Apple shares and every share of a stock known to man, every mining company. It's all fraud. So you got to get out of that as well. And then Cliff's data had Reggie coming in because the U.S. government begged him to come in. And everything's lining up for that. Now, granted, it's a lottery ticket because Cliff's data had Veritasium going higher than the price of Bitcoin. And it's like, I don't know, $20 right now. And Bitcoin's what, 28,000? But that was at the time. And I mean, if we go into that kind of world, yeah, Bitcoin will be, $1 million. Will Veritasium be $1 million a coin? I don't know. It's a nice lottery ticket to hang on to. Very hard to get. You can get on Mercatox, swapping a crypto. There's a couple swap sites, but again, if you try to buy Veritasium in quantity, you're going to double the price, triple the price. If you try to sell it, you'll destroy the price. The volumes are almost at zero. It's crazy. But that's the way the bad guys want it. They don't want you to think outside the box. Like, what is the future? Is it going to be CBDCs? No. It might be computer related, but not a CBDC in the context of the United States government issuing a CBDC where they control the blockchain. It's completely private and they print as many as they want. That doesn't work. That's anything coming from the government after they destroy the old system has to be a decentralized type of money. And can it be gold and silver? Absolutely. That's why they have that little notch in the bottom of the gold and silver eagles, so they can put identifiers on them. I wouldn't call that a CBDC. I would call that a treasury tracking allocation device. There you go. It'll allow you to spend little parts of your gold and silver without actually holding the coin in your pocket. You can do it from your phone, and it'll be tracked on a blockchain. I don't know what blockchain. Hell, the U.S. government could use the Theta network and build their own blockchain on the Theta network. But it would have to be something that is open source and provable, because no one's going to trust the government. Or especially the frickin' U.S. Mint that has destroyed its reputation. Thank you, Ventures. And then just more and more articles on the massive growth in the use of silver in renewable energy. I mean, these projections they give for silver, we're in our third year of a silver deficit. The projections there are for silver, it's like every industry is going to need 100% of the silver that's being mined right now. Every industry. So yes, the solar industry is going to need 100% of the silver that's mined. The electric vehicle industry, 100% of the silver that's mined. It's insane. It is insane how much silver is going to be needed and is needed right now, and the price is not allowed to move. We are still at less than one half of its 1980 all-time high. That's why I'm saying silver could go to $100,000 an ounce, $1 million an ounce as the system crashes. Because what's the dollar going to be worth? Nobody knows. But if you want to survive what's coming, the collapse of the old system and the beginning of something new, you have to have silver and gold, or silver or gold. But again, there's massive amounts of gold. Silver's the number one investment. Gold would be probably number two. Crypto's number three to survive what's going to happen. Again, I look at cryptos for the future. That's a true investment for the future. And they're going to be used, trust me. But for the now, the present, to survive the insanity of a global monetary meltdown, of an unbacked fiat monetary system, of a world's reserve unbacked fiat monetary system in the US dollar that could on Monday be voted out of existence, that's how weak this system is. Buy your silver today. Do not wait for this weekend. Do not wait for this weekend. It is Thursday, the 31st. Tomorrow starts June. Do not wait for this weekend to get your physical silver. If you're going to buy it now, and then you'll watch the weekend go, and it's like, oh my God, the debt ceiling deal is falling through. Or as I point out on the private road, it doesn't matter if it goes through or not. Both of them destroy the banking system. And I'll get to that later for the private road members at roadtoruler.com. Again, if you want to buy Theta, contact Caleb and Brown. Go to roadtoruler.com affiliates, and it'll give you a link to get in touch with them. All right. Also, if you are in the mood for getting a little more silver in your stack, we are still giving away at least, I'm going to say it, we'll do it at least through the weekend. How's that? No matter what happens this weekend, we're going to still give away the silver Ruta coin for those people who subscribe or renew for a year. After that, I don't know. Anything over $30, I think it's just going to run into, I don't know, a couple $100, $1,000, and it'll keep running until that system falls apart. So hang on tight, my friends. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.